To begin with, the Minority Leader of Parliament, Haruna Iddrisu, says the 2021 budget as presented by the majority lacks transparency. He alleges that government failed to produce official records of the true state of the economy. He also alleges that government spent about 19 billion Ghana cedis in spite of approving 10 billion Ghana cedis for domestic support from the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Iddrisu says the governor of the bank will be made to face the consequences of his actions. He was speaking to climax the debate on the budget statement. Now, Parliament is expected to conclude debate on the policy document presented to the House by the caretaker Finance Minister and Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu last week. The House has debated the document for the past 3 days with contributions from members focusing on various sectors of the economy. Let's go straight to the House and speak to our man on the ground, Parker Wilson, who has been observing the process. So what has been the major arguments, Parker, presented on the floor in this debate?
Well, you might want to say about 3 arguments put before or advanced by the Minority Leader, Haruna Iddrisu. And one is about the fact that government conceals the figures, the true fiscal deficit of this country. They have their own records. It shows that we owe more than what is contained in the budget as presented by the caretaker Finance Minister and, of course, the Majority Leader. 2, the introduction of the new taxes. In fact, just at the tail end of his submission, he said that the NDC is united. I'm putting verbatim, Daniel. The NDC is united in opposing the introduction of the new taxes. And the point or the argument he makes is this will further burden the already burdened taxpayer because of the negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And so they believe that this is not the time that the government should introduce new taxes, but rather the government must come up with stimulus packages to cushion the ordinary Ghanaian. And again, with the issue of the Bank of Ghana, which you just mentioned a while ago, he's made the point that the BOG governor will be hauled before the House to come and explain why they spent more than what was approved by Parliament to support domestically, because the amount they approved was 10 billion Ghana cedis, but government spent 19 billion. So that is in excess of about 9 million Ghana cedis without parliamentary approval. He will be made to face the consequences of his action. And one interesting thing he said is that, even though they are against the introduction of these taxes, one of the things that they support is the road tolls. The point is the road tolls are good and that they must be used for what it's meant for. And so they don't want government to abuse the funds that will be generated from the road tolls. So these are some of the things that the Minority Leader has talked about. And also, finally, the Obatampa project. You know that government is talking about 100 billion for 3-year period. He's asking them to tell the people of this country exactly how much you are going to spend in the year 2021. That was not contained in the budget. And so we are at a loss as to how much you are going to spend. So it would be proper and prudent for the government and, of course, the Finance Minister to let us know how much we are spending just for the year 2021.
Okay. Parker, has there been a response from the majority?
Well, just before I walked out of the chamber, the Deputy Majority Leader, Afenyo Markin, was just about to conclude the debate on the side of the majority because the Majority Leader himself was the one who presented the budget. So it would be unfair for him to come and defend what he presented, and that is why the Deputy Majority Leader has been asked to be in the stead to conclude. So he is currently on the floor making the point about what the budget is all about.
You know what, Parker? Let's listen to Mr. Afenyo Markin live.
Right.
They went to the Supreme Court without data and figures. Today, the NDC is on a path of speculation. And listen to the respected Haruna Iddrisu. This is a man I always yearned to listen to when I was not in this house. He debates well, but for the first time, Haruna Iddrisu, lawyer by profession, almost 20 years at the bar, failed to provide figures to support his claims. Mr. Speaker, he was on a path of conjecture and speculation. He could not, Mr. Speaker, he could not. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Setekwe told us that the world was going through crisis. But Mr. Speaker, if the world was going through crisis at the time, he could not particularize those challenges. Yet he said that in evaluating the state of the Ghanaian economy, we should give due regard to what is happening elsewhere. What has changed, NDC? What has changed? Today, you are saying that we should not talk about COVID. But you know, in my usual self, I would limit you to data, facts, so that you don't get up on a point of order. Mr. Speaker, these are the real facts. Almost every country in the world experienced economic contraction, as captured on page 9 and 10 of the budget document. And these are the facts. Global economy contracted by 3.5%. In other words, there was a negative growth of 3.5%. Advanced countries, 4.9%. Emerging markets and developing economies, 2.4%. Sub-Saharan African countries, 2.6%. Nigeria contracted by 3.2%. ECOWAS region, 2.5%. Mr. Speaker, Ghana, under the competent Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, did not record a negative growth. Rather, it was 0.9, Mr. Speaker. What we are saying is that in relative terms, you can clearly see that if it was not as a result of prudence, efficiency, and competence, we would have also recorded a negative growth. Are you contesting these figures? Are you? Mr. Speaker, now let's go back to the NDC. Clearly, we know that the pandemic has slowed down the economy. Mr. Speaker, we have captured per Appendix 1A on page 201. I want them to look at it before they come doubting the figures.
And that was Alex Appiah-Markin. He is delivering his submission in that debate on the budget live from the House of Parliament. We'll bring you more details in later bulletins.